Hello there everyone, and welcome to another video here on the FM Scout YouTube channel. My name is Omega Luke, and today I'm going to give you some more FM20 Football Manager 2020 tips for you to incorporate into your gameplay. The first video that I did of this with 5 tips went down like a treat. You guys, I had so many comments saying that you guys are veterans of the game and you still didn't know about some of these. So there's a few more things that I would like to show you. Hopefully you guys will learn from this and really benefit and use these to your advantage in your own saves. First and foremost though, I just want to thank everyone who's come across to my personal channel, Omega Luke Gaming. We have just started conquering Scandinavia, so if you like a Let's Play, the link is down in the description for that. Episode 1 is out now. But let's head to the first tip. So the first tip I'm going to show you here, some of these tips may seem quite obvious. It may seem like something that you already do, but a lot of people don't use this, and I'm quite surprised. I've only really started doing it the last couple of Football Managers, and it's using the tactics up here. I am a person who usually sticks to just one tactic. However, in game, I always end up playing it around. If I'm 1-0 up against a tough club, I'll bring these players back. I'll maybe fill in this guy in the midfield and use this and really manipulate the tactic I've already made into a defensive tactic. And it wastes a lot of time when what I could really do is simply make a defensive version of the tactic you already have. So, I implore you to do that straight away. When you're figuring out your tactic, when you have come to your final tactic, use this to your advantage. You can come down here, you can save your tactic. Once you have saved your tactic, go across to the next one and say if we have here, load tactic. Load that tactic once again. There you have it. Then you can manipulate it in this. It may take you another 5 minutes. However, the amount of time you will save during the game will be endless, because you can then set up your second tactic to be a more defensive one, whether you have these players down here, whether you change the fullbacks from attack to defense. It is entirely up to you. You can even do it the other way around. So if you are a lower league side and this is your tactic, you use your team as a counter-attacking team, why not have another tactic where you're really gunning for it, when you're 1-0 down at the end of the game and you really need to push for a goal. Maybe you chuck another striker up. Use these to your advantage. If you aren't already using all 3 of these slots, use them to your advantage. It will save you so much time in the future, as well as the familiarity. They will rise as well, and from doing that, when they are in that tactic during the game, they'll perform better because they are used to training in it as well. So the second tip I'm going to show you today has been highlighted in a longer video on the channel, and that is using your friendlies for lower league clubs. You can make a lot of money from using that. So if you have a look at your finances, I mean, Plymouth Argyle, the team, I've only picked this team because it's my hometown. They have quite a good balance as it is. However, it has been proven on this game that it works if you get rid of every single one of these friendlies. No friendlies whatsoever. Now the trick of this is to make a lot of money for lower league size. When you go on a range friendly down the bottom, and this doesn't necessarily work to the best of its ability in the first season. It can be done, you can make some money. However, this is best to do in the January through to June in the second season, if you're in the English leagues anyway, or coming towards the end of your league, when you are able to start looking at the calendar for pre-season. So basically, instead of going on friendly match, you select league, and here we go. So those 3 days can be used. Say if I wanted those 3 days instead. Match number 1, you go for the largest reputation clubs that you can possibly find. And if you look here, income 57k, not a massive amount, still quite a lot though. Who's another big club? You look. The best thing to do as well is to look for teams who will bring a big away fans. So Leeds United, they will bring quite a lot. Income of 109k. Larger team again, let's say Cardiff. They're quite local to Plymouth, 251k. So a total will gain 200k just from hosting these 3 teams there. So you got just call the league something League 1, why not? Anything else that you have to change? No. Confirm that there. Next, do exactly the same thing for the weekend after. Go on to league, do that again, go through Manchester City. Wow, straight away. So we have a big club there. Match day 2. I mean, you can't get any foreign teams that you can get. Bring them over as well. What you're looking for is to earn your club the most money possible. So from doing that, if you get the biggest clubs, you'll earn the most money possible. If you manage to do that for three weekends in a row, maybe the 4th weekend, if you look really, you're going to gain about £1 million in your bank account. And for a non-league side or a League 2 side, that is a lot of money to keep you afloat throughout the season. And this is just the first season where it doesn't work necessarily the best. The best time is to do it very early on when the clubs like Manchester City doesn't have these friendly. The downside, of course, you will be playing 3 games in a row there, so you may get a lot of injuries. So rotate your squads as much as you can. Don't leave it up to the assistant and play the first team every time, because your players will just be knackered. Yes, you might lose a few games, so before you get to the main games, make sure that you are playing against lower league sides to build the morale up. But also a good thing, your tactic will come along very well. They'll become very familiar with the tactic because they're playing it so often. So definitely use this lower league friendly trick. I suppose that's in the game. A lot of people say it's sort of cheating. Yeah, I can understand why you would think that. However, it's in the game. Why not use it? So it's definitely a good way of building your pennies in the lower leagues. Now, the next tip I'm going to give you is more of a bit of advice, really, and it sort of really works for Premier League sides, like top European sides, and that is to basically, and this is how simple it is, honestly, guys, have a look at Celtic and Rangers' squad. They have some unbelievable players in their squad. Oliver Ncham, for instance. A great player. I've seen his media description change to a world-class midfielder after 1 season on my AC Milan save. £12 million. I've seen him go for 15. Like, he is a world-class midfielder, and for £15 million. That is outrageous. Of course, Eduard is another. I mean, look at the stats on this guy already. And he's worth £15 million. Seen him go for underneath 30. 6'2", 21 years of age. Use these leagues because they will leave the club. They want to leave the club. A player who I signed myself is Christopher Ajer. Phenomenal player. Was one of my best players at AC Milan. And I signed him for about 19k, that would be a bargain. £19 million, first season. And I used him pretty much every game. Now he's worth 40 plus. So it's definitely worth doing, and he's only 21 years of age. Same can be said for Rangers. If you have a look at the Rangers squad, they have a very similar sort of lineup here. The first one there, Alfredo Morelos, a great striker again, very similar to Eduard, 23 years of age, can turn out to be an elite striker, and you can get him for rather cheap. Let's have a look at the Rangers squad itself. There's a couple more. Connor Goldson is another guy that I picked up on my AC Milan series. He wasn't exactly a first team player, but a phenomenal backup nonetheless. Some great attributes in there, and I picked him up for a less than 10 million. And you wouldn't get attributes like that if they were coming from a different league. So definitely, if you're one of these top clubs, have a look at Rangers and Celtic. They come out with some banging players, and you can get them for next to nothing prices. Now, the next tip is to use the 2D camera view. Now, why am I telling you to do this when there is a 3D version? Simply because if you have watched my AC Milan series, I have explained it to you on there. I like using it for 1, nostalgia, but 2, when you are using 2D, it is giving you a perfect bird's eye view of the game. And when you're in the bird's eye view, you can proper analyze the positions of all of your players. You can see whether your fullbacks are bombing on like you're telling them to. You can see whether you're getting countered and whether they're pinging it over the top and your player is their player is trying to beat the offside trap every time. You can see that by using that. You can see the shape of your tactic. You can see errors and whether players are out of position so much easier than using the 3D match engine where to be honest, I really don't like using it anyway, but I can barely tell where my players are stood in regards to using the 3D over the 2D, and I would never change back to the 3D just simply because the bird's eye view for me works so well when I'm trying to use a new tactic and learn about this tactic, whether it is working for me. So a little quick one there for you guys. Use the 2D tactic, just see how it goes when you're first starting your tactic. Maybe if you're happy with the tactic after that and it's working well, then change back to the 3D. You know, I'm not your boss, but if you ask me, 2D is the best way to go to see how your tactic performs, especially in the early months of using it. Now, the penultimate tip that I'm going to give you today is to rest your players. Now, of course, in the training section, it will have options for rest. That's fine. However, I always think that when you're in multiple competitions, especially if you're in Europe, Champions League competitions, and you have cup games as well as the league, and you're gunning for all these trophies, my players always end up getting into the early 80%, like they are right now, when I'm about to play a new game. And I think to myself, like, how has this happened in between the 4 days? The players are knackered, it's costing me game time. What I would much rather do is simply highlight all of the players that were involved on the last match day. Right click, you go down to training, there's a rest option there. You can rest the players for 2-3 days. Once you've rested these two days, the players will be so much more fresher. Give them some rest, give them some time to recover so they are back to full condition. I'm much sure you'd rather them miss 2 days of training, so that they can actually play in the match against a Champions League opponent. That, to me, makes sense. And you can use this as much as you like. You can rest them for a full week just to make sure. It's completely up to you. I always make sure whenever I have a lot of games coming up in one go, I always make sure I rest my players a lot more than what the training suggests I should be. And finally, the final tip that I'm going to give you today is to actually try and disrupt your transfer targets before the transfer window opens. So I'm on the page of Mason Greenwood here. He looks like a phenomenal striker, doesn't he? And say in this save I want to make a goal for Mason Greenwood in the summer transfer window. The transfer window has not opened yet. Yes, you can potentially make a signing, but if you've got to the point where you've already spent your transfer budget for this season, but you're planning on getting Mason Greenwood for next season, there are ways where you can sort of disrupt him, make him want to come to your club. It gets to the point where on his information, it comes down here, his plans, his short-term plans, wants to perform and impress you as a manager. That's always cool when that comes up, because you know then that they want to play for you. It may even come up on the long-term plans, has desires to play for certain clubs. That could be your club. So the way to do this is to go on to transfer and declare your interest. You can declare it as just a transfer or a top target. So say, Mason Greenwood, I need him. He is going to be my top target. What this basically does then, you get this little notification. He is our absolute #1 priority. Just say you press that. The next time, once you have said that to the press, it can work both ways. You can then see whether Mason Greenwood is not interested at all, but it also can disrupt him. And the best way to see that is through, like I just shown you there, have a look on the information page. It might not do anything, but I have done in the past where I know a player is about to sign a new contract. I declare my interest. He then rejects the new contract because he doesn't want to play at that club anymore. He now is interested in joining me instead. And so from doing this, then you can then sort of line up your targets for the end of the season, for that summer transfer window. Make sure that they are really interested in coming to your club before you make a go for it. It can really make a difference. It can stop them from signing new deals so that they're on a lower wage, or that you have to meet a higher valuation of the player. Maybe when they sign a new contract, they won't even sign for you at all. That is something that happens in this game. You have to wait a long time. Sometimes the player doesn't even want to speak to you, even if the club agrees an offer for them. So why not try this? Why not try and disrupt your signings? Clubs already do it for you. The AI constantly send scouts to your games, disrupts your players. I constantly have notifications on my news box to say that so-and-so was at the game watching one of my players, and now that player has a desire to play for that club and wants to impress that manager. That is not what you want to see, but that is what you want to see on your targets. So use that to your advantage when you are next lining up your summer transfer targets. So there we have it, guys. Those were a few more tips to use on Football Manager 2020. Let me know down in the comments down below if you already implement some of these, or if you did not know some of these existed, or you're going to use them in the future. I always like to see that my tips and stuff are helping you guys, helping you have better saves and benefiting you in your saves. But my name is Omega Luke. If you're looking for some Let's Play action, you can come across to my channel, Omega Luke Gaming. The link is down in the description, or you can simply type it in your search bar. I will be the first name that pops up there. Drop me a subscription. I'm getting close now to 1,000 subscribers, which is my target for Christmas. And like I said, as this video goes live, Conquering Scandinavia #1 is out. I cannot wait for this challenge. Basically, the long and short of it is 5 countries I have to dominate, all 5 of them. I'm getting the club picked for me randomly. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you come along for the journey. So my name's Omega Luke. Thank you for watching this video. Drop it a like, drop it a comment down below, and of course subscribe to FM Scout for plenty more to come throughout the rest of the month and through into December. I'll see you on the next one.